Mr. Koskinen, Monday and Tuesday of this week, I did 2 live town halls back in my district and 1 teletown hall. And at 2 of those events, the issue that was brought up, same story that came out in the Washington Post with the headlines, IRS rehired hundreds of ex-employees with troubled records, came up. And it basically came up from my constituents saying, why can we not get away with the same things that were recorded there? In the article, it indicated that between 2010, January, and September 2013, the IRS rehired 7,000 employees. A great jobs program, and we're always delighted when people are employed. But the question comes from my people as to why over 800 of those 7,000 rehired IRS employees were rehired with prior substantial employment issues, including 11 individuals who engaged in unauthorized access to taxpayer information. And that really discourages and frustrates my citizens, that these people, 11 of them, who engaged in unauthorized access to taxpayer information, which is a crime, as we understand it, were rehired. Why?
The bulk of those employees are temporaries or seasonals who are hired for 4 to 6, 8 months, a year, depending on the time. They should not be rehired.
Even though they committed a crime, you're saying they should not. Why were they rehired?
They should not, because the process at that point in time, in 2009 to 2011 into 2012, followed, as the IG said, the OPM rules and regulations, which in fact would have allowed those people to be applied. We consolidated in 2012 all of those hiring issues into our personal security division, and I have made sure that if you have violated, it all is under a section called 1203B. If you have worked for the IRS and violated section 1203B, you will not be rehired.
Well, according to TIGTA, they said it still remains concerned because in 2012 and 2013, IRS hired individuals with prior significant IRS substantiated conduct and performance issues. What are you doing? I mean, this was subsequent to that.
Yes, and what the IG recommended, the IG again in that report said that was all pursuant to and we followed the OPM rules. What the IG said is we should make sure that we make sure before we hire someone, we've actually reviewed all of this. And as I said, we now do that. We took the IG's recommendation. And I have talked with our personnel people since the IG started raising this issue, which I think is an important issue in December, and to make sure that in this consolidation with our personal security people, if you have violated 1203B, which is willful violations of taxes or access to taxpayer information, you won't be hired.
Let me proceed further then, and I hope this is a general trend. The audit identified 141 individuals that were rehired that had a prior tax issue, with 5 of them having been found by IRS management to have willfully not filed their taxes. How many of these employees are still working?
They're all seasonal employees, so I don't know. A lot of them don't come back the next year, so I don't know how many of those there were. I would note that the 141, we take the requirement of IRS employees to be tax compliant very seriously. Our compliance rate is over 99%. We hold people accountable even if their mistakes are inadvertent. Even if they make modest mistakes, we count that as not compliance. What we are concerned about is the 5 employees you mentioned that have been found to willfully not pay their taxes and violate the tax laws, and those people are subject to termination.
Could you get us information for this committee of people we're referring to here that are still employed?
I will find the information. The 141, if you've had a minor minor mistake, those you would get cited for, but those aren't basis for termination. The 5 you mentioned that had a willful violation finding, I will find out the information and get it back to you.
I appreciate that. What about those, not the tax issue, but had substantial prior employment issues, attendance issues, misrepresentation of what they were doing, if they were on the job?
There's again, as I say, the consolidation now, we have a personal security department that reviews every offer before it is made to make sure that we've gone over all of that. Some personal activities are, you didn't show up for work by, for 2 days. Others are, you had a significant problem. And we just distinguish between those. And the OPM rules are very clear about that, that if you've, just because you've had a performance issue in your file doesn't mean you can never work again for the IRS. It depends on the nature and the duration of the affair. But it is important for people to be confident, even though 80%, as the TIGTA report said, 80% of these people are temporaries and seasonals who don't necessarily work even for half the year. It is important for us to make sure
Very important.
that we have the appropriate people working. And so I take the TIGTA report, I'm a big supporter of IGs, because they continue to review these issues, and we take it seriously. We have implemented their recommendations. We have a personal security group now that ensures before an offer goes out, if you have violated 1203B, which is the two most serious issues, you don't get hired. And if there are other conduct issues, not only are we going to follow the OPM rules, we're going to review those for appropriateness for work at the IRS. And I think it's important for people to be comfortable that we do take it seriously and that people working for the IRS ought to be tax compliant. If we're collecting your taxes, we ought to be paying ours.
Well, I appreciate that, and I would like that information on those that are still employed that came under these 824.
The 824 covers a large range.
A lot. But
I thank the gentleman.
Thank you.